Hey, welcome back to Esther's Breeze, where we sit back and shoot the breeze. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Your love and support is so appreciated. I want to give a big shout out to Jenny DeHame from PAX Management, to Mr. Robert D'Alessio, my mentor and good friend, and to Mr. Fernando Renzo, my partner in crime and my producer. Esther's Breeze is available on the Esther's Breeze YouTube channel, on Bobby Short Short's YouTube channel, and on my profile on Facebook. In addition, the audio gets extracted and then gets uploaded to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and to many other streaming platforms. I'm so excited for today's guest. He's kind of a local hero. Charles V Rox Vaccaro is a native Montrealer, a guitar player, singer-songwriter who just came off the success of his latest single, Can't Stop Running, with a nomination at the HMMA Awards, which is the Hollywood Music and Media Award for singer-songwriter. And news of brand new EP is ready to be dropped soon. He also writes music for films, including local filmmaker Teresa Pucciano's new short film, Mate and Date, and her previous film short, 55. His passion for music started very young. In the mid-'80s, he was one of the founding members of the star rock band LIPSTIK, formed with his childhood friends, and eventually managed by none other than Whitney Houston via Nippy Management Inc. I'm so excited to sit down, chat, and shoot the breeze with Charles. But before we do that, here is a snippet of his wonderful new song, Can't Stop Running.
Tired and torn, this is where I stand here all by myself. The seasons, they keep changing, and everything I see just stays the same. I've seen a million places, and all these empty faces, they look back at me. Been running around in circles, trying to catch my breath, but I don't know how. And I can't stop running away from here. And I won't stop running away.
Fantastic. I love that song. Let's bring Charles on. Hey.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Yourself?
I am so good. Thank you so much for being here. I absolutely love that song, but we'll get into how you came about doing that a little bit later. What I really want to know is, how did your interest in music begin?
I guess I was born with it. Before I say that, I love the name of your show.
Oh, thank you. Oh, my
Love it.
goodness. No one
Love
ever
it.
said that before.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we're gonna shoot the breeze.
Yeah,
There
that's
you go.
exactly what we're doing. We're shooting the breeze.
Well, I think you're born an artist or an athlete, or whatever you aspire to be. Once you start to realize yourself, your character, which is in my case, I guess, in the teens, right?
Right.
I remember, as far as being 5 years old, I wanted to play the guitar. So, and I always had music around me through my parents. Being immigrant Italians, we had back then the Domenico Modugnos and the Gianni Morandis and Elvis and the Beatles, and
Right.
and I had my uncle Leo, who was the youngest of my uncles, and he grew up here, so he ended up going to school here. So he was introducing me to Hendrix and Billy Joel and Pink Floyd and all the bands he was growing up with. So there was an interest. I used to listen to music differently, I guess. I used to get into the song and listen to the guitar and listen to the music and and take stuff out there. But I didn't understand when I was 10 years old why
Right.
yet,
So you started playing guitar at 13?
Yes, I started playing guitar at 13, 13. 13. It took a while because, being again from immigrant parents, they were like, what are you going to do with this thing, right? You're going to play
Right.
guitar.
I know what that's
And
like. Yeah.
yeah, so it took a while. And yes, once I started, I was like fully into this. Like I was dedicated. This is it, and it was a $90 classical guitar.
Right.
It didn't sound like a rock guitar. It just sounded nice, and it actually was the guitar where I got to learn, my version of Stairway to Heaven at the time.
That's my all-time favorite
Yeah.
rock song, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did four kids from the neighborhood decide to get together and start this, what did you call it, hair metal band? Like, how did this all
Well,
come to
I
fruition?
didn't call it that. That's we've had lots of titles to what we were doing. There was pop metal, hair metal,
Right.
bubblegum rock, which I despise.
Yeah, I get it.
And that's what it was back then. Hair metal because we were a bunch of boys with this big hair and this beautiful curly coiffed hair, and we that's the title the world gave our kind of music at the time.
Yeah, we seem to be a little frozen, but we can keep on talking.
Yeah.
So how did it all begin? Like, apparently you had a battle of the band in Vanier. So what happened?
Well, prior to that, we were all from the same neighborhood and like walking distance from our homes. So three of us went to high school together, so we were all the same age, and we started discussing forming a band when we were 15, almost before graduation, and then our singer Paul Galati, he is still, his parents are neighbors. They have joining backyards with my parents in St. Leonard, and he's older than us, and he wanted to sing and start a band. So we got a bunch of guys together, and only three of us from that band of five ended up being LIPSTIK later on. But it started, in my dad's garage where I lived in our house. It
Really?
was crazy. Yeah, it was loud. It was crazy. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just starting. But it was fun. It was great. And other kids used to come and watch us play, which kids are friends, but it's kids because we were young. And from there, things progressed pretty rapidly. And then once we started LIPSTIK, that year we entered the Vanier Battle of the Bands.
Right.
And that night we won, but sometimes things bring people together, and that's the night we met Sonia Benezra
From Music
who,
Plus at the time in the 80s.
Yes.
She was a big VJ.
Yes, and she was one of the I don't remember if she was a judge, but she was for sure the MC, and
Right.
and we just all fell in love with each other. She's just a great person, and we didn't know, but a year or two after that, she was gonna be our biggest spokesperson and sponsor. So once we won that, we started writing songs. We started writing, and we filmed our first video called "You're All I Need." And of course, Sonia got it, through the channels of Music Plus, and that's where locally people started to grasp onto what, who are these guys? Not so much in the neighborhood, but let's say Westmount or downtown or whatever was going on. And at the time, all this was crazy because we were in the times where there was still the Montreal Forum. So,
Right.
every week you'd have Ozzy, Van Halen, Bon Jovi, Cinderella, Rat, like all the bands that Poison, that era produced. And we were right there. So we'd play Station 10 on St. Catherine Street, and down the street was Michael Jackson playing at the Forum. It's just crazy, right? And then, people, if you remember, people used to walk outside and there'd be the guy T-shirt $10, and it was just this vibrant atmosphere, which was fantastic.
We have we just lost it. So I believe Gennaro said, just
Yes.
talked to radio announcer from Calgary by the name of John Bodin live on YouTube, but he never heard of you. I plugged your name a couple of times and your latest song, Can't Stop Running. Well, that's a nice friend.
Thanks, Gennaro. Yes, Gennaro has become a great friend, and he's also family with Ari Anicello, Ari Sky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
and he's a great supporter. Thanks, Gennaro. I hope he calls back.
Well, tell him to watch this YouTube.
Yeah. Tell him we're here.
Yeah, we're here. Hey, Miriam.
Hey, Miriam.
So how did it come to be that you were managed eventually by Whitney Houston with her Nippy Management Inc. company?
In the summer of, I believe, 88 or late, probably maybe 80, no, not 80, yeah, maybe 87. No, let's say 88.
Okay. Let's say.
Anyways, one of those summers, my singer, my drummer, and a whole bunch of friends go to Wildwood, and I couldn't go because it wasn't my vacation time. So, Paul came back. He's like, I met this girl. She's a hairdresser. She does hair for another band in Pennsylvania, and their manager works for Whitney Houston. And blah, 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 blah. And like, what do you mean? What are you saying? And a couple of days we prepared a press kit, and back then it was an envelope with a stamp, and you waited at home. Hopefully this person would call you, and hopefully when they called you, you were home and your parents didn't answer, right? Because we didn't have cell phones then.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, he did call, and then we prepared a showcase for him. And he came down, he came up, and he did that 2-3 times. And then one night, the last night, he came, he said, I'm going to take you to my boss. Where the company, not Whitney Houston herself, the company's recruiting new talents in different styles of music. And he says, I believe in you guys so much that you're too big for me to handle, And those were, pretty much the exact words. And so the whole machine started to roll then, and now we had a lawyer here, they had their lawyer, back and forth, and at one point our lawyer was a bit aggressive, and we're like, we can't lose this deal, right? So we're not there yet. So it was give and take, right? So we ended up signing, and the day we signed, she was there. It was actually their Thanksgiving. And we met the dad. We had met them already, but
Right.
That day we met the dad, the accountant, their lawyer. Now they're our lawyer. And her office was was round. So
Right.
in the corridor of the round, there was these giant posters of her, right? And this is like before Bobby Brown, and actually there was a life-size poster of Bobby Brown in the dad's office, but we didn't know then what was going on, right? Because they introduced that much later. And so, about an hour later, in comes Whitney with her mom, Sissy, and we're frozen. I mean, I was I was 19 years old, and the story I always say is we didn't have cameras then, we didn't have smartphones, so we never got to get a picture with her, but it was just surreal because this person was the biggest singer pop icon of the time, and here we were in her office, and legally her being our manager, our representative to getting to accelerating our career to other steps.
Yeah, I'm sure it was surreal.
Yeah.
So again, we're a little frozen, but that's okay. I want the audience to see the video by LIPSTIK. It's called "I Want You Want." Because seriously, I had not seen your music or heard your music or seen your videos before, and when I saw this, I totally understood why they would want to sign you. So let's put that on. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I need sound.
I hear you.
Hey, Charles, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. It happens.
Yeah, this is that. So what I wanted to do, my computer froze. I'm so sorry about that. I wanted to play the video. I'm going to see if we can do it now. Okay.
Sure.
absolutely love that. And we're back.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what happened?
Well, what happened? The Once we started touring East Coast United States, which was like late '89 to '90, and then '91. We played the clubs in New York City. We played CBGBs. We played Cat Club. We played in Pennsylvania. We opened up for a band called Winger, if you remember them.
Yeah.
Here at La Brick, we opened up for Firehouse, uh, and things were progressing very well. The thing is that what happened at that time, once we hit the early '90s, the grunge started to come back, or started to come
Yes.
into was introduced to the world through Nirvana. I guess that's the ones that broke that new genre of music at that time. And so the industry was reluctant to start looking at bands like us, although some companies were already looking at us to give us a deal, right? But as soon as Nirvana took off, the whole industry moved to Seattle. So it wasn't a musical thing anymore. It was musical and geographical. So
Right.
they started signing bands from Seattle. Stone Temple Pilots, uh, Alice in Chains, and I mean there was other bands that were not, but that's what came in at that time, and that's when music started to move really fast in different styles, and then slowly the Britney Spears came out, the Christina Aguilera's came out, a whole bunch of female singers. Celine was coming out, so it wasn't just Whitney Houston and Bon Jovi and Aerosmith. Now it was different styles, different things, and all the bands, all the hair metal bands, they all died. They all, the survivors of that was Bon Jovi was still alive. He passed that turmoil. Aerosmith and Guns N' Roses came out in the late '80s anyway, so they were still working. They were still, mind you, they were they're Guns N' Roses, right?
Right.
But so we didn't have a place anymore, and I think now looking back, back then I didn't understand it because I was a little frustrated, maybe angry. Uh, the Whitney machine couldn't do anything for us anymore, and they knew it, right? I mean, who better than that organization than to get you a record deal, right? So if you're not going to get it with Whitney Houston, like that train is passing, right? So that's how it felt like. Oh my God, And then the train passed, and like, what do we do now, right? We're not, At the end of the day, we weren't American. We weren't from any city in America. We weren't from Seattle, right? We're Canadian, right? So we had all these things that now weren't working to our favor, and we were writing, fun, bubbly songs like you just played, and the grunge was a little darker. It was a little different. It was a culture as well. It had its own culture. So time went on. We tried to adapt to different sounds and different things, and then in the end, we just we lost a couple of members, and now it was just Paul and I. And 1993, I said, that's it, I'm done. Like I had my fun. I was 24. I got to make a life decision where I hope I make a right one, where I don't end up, dreaming about this in my 40s and 50s, right? So I packed my gear in a closet. I sold some gear, and that was it, And the old expression, I cut my hair and I got a real job.
Right.
That's what happened, and things have been great. Life's been great. Life's been good. Like everybody else, ups, downs. Some regrets, some not, and we're here today. So, and I have a story to tell, which is fun. And at the end, we didn't become at the status of our idols, but we got to live that lifestyle for a short period of time, and it was just fantastic because not everybody gets to do that. You know, it's really fun. It was fun. So my youth was fun, and on top of that, it was through rebellion because my parents didn't support it. So it was even more fun.
Oh, that was half the fun. So,
No, because you get to prove them wrong, right?
yeah, right. You see, I can
Right?
do it. You told me not to pick up the
Yeah.
guitar, that I'll never make a living doing this, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But, all of it ended, and it ended, you were quite young. And it
Yeah.
says a lot that, you didn't go through any type of psychological turmoil, any kind of depression or anxiety because of it, where other people would definitely be affected. What do you attribute that to?
Well, one, myself, I don't suffer from anxiety or anything that makes me panic if I'm not in a good situation. I always when I'm not sure of something, I take a few steps back and I think things through. Also in everyday things like an argument, So what happens is at the time, I wasn't depressed. I was down. I became a loner for a couple of years. I wasn't hanging out anymore with my friends from that circle of friends because it would just remind me of that all the time. So I went on with life, and like I said, I was fortunate enough not to go through a downfall psychologically. Having said that, okay, because we were from the same neighborhood, okay, we used to have little pins. Okay, hold on.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Sorry,
Narrow
because it's very, very important. So this is a lipstick pin.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
Okay, so
That is so cool.
Okay, and in the back, it says,
I don't know. I can't read it.
Yeah, it says, "Say no to drugs."
Ah.
Okay,
Got
so we we always looked after each other, no matter what, So we were not just bandmates. We were guys that went to high school together. We were neighbors. We were friends. We were best buddies. So we took care of each other, and still today we, in some shape or form, we still communicate. So there was that helped a lot from the question you asked me before. But when you aspire to be something, and all these things come to a dead end, bang, you have to cope with it somehow, and hopefully people don't get depressed, doing it, because not everybody becomes that, right? Not everybody, today I speak to younger artists. Not everybody's going to become Ariana Grande. Not everybody's going to become Dua Lipa. Not everybody's going to become, Keith Urban. But doesn't mean you can't try. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy it, But if your expectations play with your head, then it's you're just hurting yourself, right? Because the end game, nobody knows what it will be, just like anything else, right? So today, I'm gonna be 52, and I think I made the right choices for my personal self, to have a family. I'm married. I have a son of 13 years old. We work.
Yes, and you said that you had put everything away in 1993, 94, put it in the closet, sold some of your gear, and then you started to take everything out again when your wife was pregnant.
Yes, that's the story.
And what was the reason behind that? Why did you wait, and why then?
Well, I don't think I waited for anything. My stuff was in the closet. We're working. There's different stages in life, right? In the 20s, you're going out, you're partying, whatever. Some people get married younger, whatever. whatever happens to that. But it's in your 30s where you start to settle into what life might be in a few years from now. So it wasn't that I was waiting for one day to meet a woman and then she'll, we're going to be having a baby and then I'll take out my gear. That was it. My gear was in my closet because there was some pieces I can't sell because they'll be with me till somebody else gets rid of them, and I had a guitar built for me with my name and first serial number, so that it's not a guitar anymore. It's a collection that I have a personal attachment to, right? So I didn't wait for that, but now life is getting real. We're welcoming in a human being to our life, and this kid has to know that his dad or her dad, the time we didn't know,
right?
But today it's his dad. That there's a story. One day today he knows, but one day he's gonna know the story of why there's this musical atmosphere in the house, and so like I said before, lo and behold, he's an athlete, so it didn't quite pan out, but
you can't plan those things. You can't
well,
place an order.
I wasn't planning anything, but at least we introduced him to piano. He couldn't care less,
good.
Right?
Yeah.
And he didn't care, and he comes sometimes he comes downstairs, he fools around, and I let him be. But the thing was that it was a pivotal moment of here we are. I want to introduce myself to this new person that's going to be coming to the world, and so there it worked to my advantage because I started writing again. Now, it's been 13 years, right?
Yeah.
That and the past few years have accelerated.
We have. I'm so sorry. There's so many questions coming in.
Yeah. Go ahead. Let's answer them.
Yes. So, Gennaro asked, "Will you be doing any live concerts soon?"
Live, unfortunately, not yet because none of us are due to COVID. But this year, I will be performing at the ETEL Fest virtually. We don't know the dates yet, and I will be performing with two other musicians. Another guitar player and a bass player. We will be doing a few of my songs, a few covers. Those are a surprise, and yeah, I'd like to play live again. Yes, I love that. I preach that. I promote that. That's where an artist gets to learn and meet their audience. And this year I didn't expect the reaction that I got from Can't Stop Running.
It's a great song. It's a great song. And you did it during the pandemic, right? You recorded it.
Yeah.
And tell us how you did that.
Well, I Can't Stop Running, once I went into my archives, I wrote 7 years ago, believe it or not.
Okay.
And now, I'm in renovations, so that's what I do for a living. And so, February came in, and bang, the world stopped, and everybody has to stay home. So now I'm home, and I can't sit still. I gotta be doing something every 3 seconds, right? And if I'm not on the phone with somebody and play guitar, cutting the grass, I gotta be busy, right? So now I'm home. I haven't been home ever, like for 3 months, right? Doing nothing.
Right.
And so, we're all home. School's closed. My wife's upstairs. I start, hanging out in my studio, and I'm like, okay. So I call my producer, Peter Ronaldo. This is it. Let's do this. Let's start doing my stuff, and that's what happened. So, I'm at the point where, artists are not earning much money these days with streaming. Like, they don't have the opportunity to sell their CD because nobody's buying a CD or whatever. So it's all streaming. So what are you gonna do? You're not gonna make money. I don't care about the money. If I would, it would break my heart personally, and even if nobody even listens to my songs ever, that I kept these in my hard drive without making an effort, right? So here I am. I got a bunch of songs, right? And I'm like, but Peter, I can't see you. He's like, well, you're gonna have to record your stuff at home. I'm like, what are you, crazy?
It's not
Like,
easy.
I have gear, but I'm not a sound engineer. I'm not
Right.
this, tech savvy sound engineer, right? And thank God I'm tech savvy because I pulled it off and I sent him my guitars and my vocals and he put all the rest together, the drums, the keyboards, and it just sounds crazy good. And people loved it. And just 2 weeks ago, a little more than 2 weeks ago, because we're working on an EP and there's no date of release because with COVID it doesn't really matter, right? And going back to Gennaro's question, like I want to promote it properly and I want to play it live, right?
He has another question actually.
What?
One of the best guitarists from Kanawaki is Corey Diabo. Have you ever heard of him? And if
Yes.
you have, what is your reaction to his guitar playing?
He is fantastic. I believe he plays with Pagliaro, with Michel Pagliaro lately.
Of course.
Yeah. Guitar players rock. But I was outside. I was doing something. I'm on the phone with Peter again, and he's like, "We need an up-tempo song, and it's got to be like flirty and whatever." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'll see what I could do." Right. So an hour later, I sent him a new song, which is going to be the next one that we're going to release. So I came downstairs, and in an hour, I wrote like 98% of it, which was like, "Wow, okay, yeah, we still got it." So it's been fun. It's been fun, and also. Throughout past 4 or 5 years, we've been doing live shows for certain causes. My friend Louisa, who has polycystic kidney disease, she has a Music Heals that we usually do at Rialto. My friend Fabo, great friend of mine, it's almost 40 years I know him. He has multiple sclerosis, and we've done the Monster show, which Monster has the letters MS in there.
Right.
And we did at Leonardo da Vinci with other local musicians, and we just rocked it out. And Friends for a Cause, we've done the autism shows and the cancer shows at the Chateaubriand in Rivière de Paris, and so we've got a chance to play live. And I was also managing Ari Sky, the back here.
Yes.
Local young artist, singer, and
she's amazing. I heard her music and one of your YouTube videos. An incredible voice.
Yes, stunning. And with all that, we got to be in the public eye in Montreal. Whether it was Italfest or any of these organizations that we help and endorse. And so it's been fun, right? Because at the end of the day, we're not going backstage drinking Jack Daniels and pretending, we're of age, right? So we're having some fun, and through that, I made some really good contacts in the States. My publisher Tina Cole, who lives in Toronto, who I met through family here. We've just been working on stuff. And we meet people, we build a team. I have my publicist who lives here in Montreal, Francesca Sacerdotti. She does all my promo, she sends my stuff to all the blogs, and we work, and you build a team, and you build friendships. And I met Robert, and then Robert introduced me to you, and here we are tonight.
It's all about networking. And we actually have another question. Have you tried to speak to the program director of K 103.7 FM in Kanawaki? His name is Mr. Jacobs. This is the same gentleman asking the question.
Yes, I don't bother program directors anymore. because they don't want to be bothered. So there, there's
That's kind of
there's
old school, isn't it? Do people still do that?
well, yeah, that hasn't changed. The radio
Okay.
hasn't changed, right? But everybody's like, "Hey, I know this radio DJ from Montreal. He's my friend. We had a barbecue." Well, they have zero power, right? You could call any of them and say, "Hey, man, you're on the morning show." And you're gonna say, "Dude, you gotta go through the program director who works for Bell and Bell
Right,
Media."
right, right.
And it becomes, they're not gonna give you Justin Bieber spot because you're from Montreal. So uh, but yeah, and I know that Gennaro's got my back,
Yeah.
always, but it's interesting because there is a business to this, right? There's a business to everything, to podcasting, to acting, voiceovers. There's one, I'm gonna work my craft, and then there's two, why aren't they hiring me? Or and that's where you have to be realistic with yourself, and how far you want to take it.
Yeah. I have another
and
question.
I'm not talking directly
Yeah.
to you. I'm just, it's an advice that I give myself too, right? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so Bobby Shortshort, sorry. So I don't know if it's actually a question or say, Charles, talk about when the cops came to the venue you were playing at and everybody scrambled out of there. See, that's
I
a
love
story I
that
don't
one.
know.
That's the best. That's the best. Is Fernando listening?
Yes, he's
Okay.
backstage. Yeah.
Okay. So Loretto Funeral Home,
Oh, yeah.
right?
He's
on
nodding. Yes.
on Vio and the Grand Prix. Back in the day was Brasserie L'Arbitre. So Brasserie, the referee, right? So you'd go watch boxing there and sports. We played there 14 weeks in a row, right?
Wow.
Now I live walking distance from there, right? And I was a baker as well when I finished high school, and I started working part-time at the bakery, our local bakery, and then I ended up working there 10 years. But it was paying for my career, it was paying for my music, it was financing, and so every couple of days Bob and Serge would come. So Bob and Serge were the night shift police officers. They used to come in and warm up. The oven was on, right? And hey, Tatsude Taral, they wanted Taralis. It was just funny, right? And they became my friends, right? So, but they were used to patrol our neighborhood. And so one night I'm playing, and they come in, and I'm sitting on a chair talking to somebody. And my friend Andog comes and says, "Hey, bro, there's two cops. They want to talk to you." I'm like, "You tell them that if they want to talk to me, that they gotta come talk to me over here, right?" And he's frozen. My friend's like, "What are you, crazy?" Right? So they're approaching me. I get up and we hug. Hey, but by then, like, the whole place scattered right out of there because everybody was like 17, almost 18.
That's
It
a
was
great
really,
story.
and it was so funny because the timing of it was like perfect, right? Yeah, I can tell them that if they want to come and talk to me, that they come here, right? I'm telling two cops this, right? So that's the story.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to aspiring musicians, singer-songwriters? What would you have to say to them?
Well, look, aspiring is vast, right?
Right.
If
That's
you're
true.
aspiring to be then it's 24 hours a day. You gotta give it up, and you gotta do that, right? uh People like me that do it part-time, or just to enjoy, do it. I mean, we're here once, we live. Like, don't restrict yourself from anything. If that's what you wanted to do, but you couldn't do it when you were young, there shouldn't be anything stopping you doing it when you're older. And look, I revived it again, and it took me 13 years to reach, where I'm at today, which is, not whatever, but it took all that to, from one benefit concert to another thing, and to meeting people, and to going on Instagram and becoming friends with record producers in New York, and you become friends with them, and people are like, yeah, well, this guy, why can't? Well, because he can't. This guy can't do something until you have something to offer this guy that he could do something for you, right? Or this person. So when you're young, there's the I want to be famous aspect in there. Well, it's not all fun and games, right? So you have to put in the work. You gotta put in the work, and it's gotta be good, and people have to react. And if your audience doesn't react, well, then you have to reinvent, or take a different angle, because in the end, that's what it is. You could have the best song you ever wrote, you could have the best skit you ever wrote, the best script, the best, and maybe it is, but if the audience doesn't say, hey, I love it, back to Nirvana, they were supposed to be a tax write-off, and they were shelved, right? Which means the record label signed them for fun, right? They sold 7 million albums in less than a year. So the world just gobbled them up and said, hey, you're our new spokesperson for music, And so who are we to judge, or who are we to say, well, I wrote the best song ever in the world, and the world's gonna love it? Not necessarily. So and that is a lesson in itself, and rejection is a lesson in itself, and you can't let that get you down, because then you might as well stop, right? Because it's not easy, right? I sent thousands of emails with this song to people. Sorry, we like it, not what we're looking for. But they're this little blogger in Denmark or wherever they are. But still, had they picked it up, I would have had one more person pushing my stuff, So it's really that. You got to be on it all the time, and don't be. And again, this is me answering your question to younger people. Don't let the social media fool you, because it's easy with the social media to get fooled, to wow, but the end is, are you working? Are you happy? And at some point, are you earning a living? Which before we went on air, we were discussing, is merchandising important? Yes, it is. But do you have an audience big enough for you to be selling any?
Exactly.
Right? So I could print 1,000 t-shirts tomorrow, but if I sell 5, I really didn't, I didn't accomplish anything, right? As far as earning money, because now I got 995 t-shirts left in the garage, so it's you plan it out, and if you think of, because the definition I'm going to make it's vague, and I made it 10 times. And today I'm here in my living room talking to you, which is a great pleasure, but I didn't make it, so that's the real definition of make it, right? But am I happy today where I am? Yes. So I made it,
Exactly. It's your own personal definition. So what does the future hold?
I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, where there's it's really fun lately. I've been invited to another couple of podcasts.
Oh, amazing.
And to be a cameo in my friend Sly Fiorino's video. He called me the other day. And my music, I want to get my music out there. And if only Esther calls me back and says, I love it, good. If 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, if this, because I speak to other people like Robert D'Alessio, Bobby Short Shorts, and other podcast friends that are also musicians. And if I can inspire somebody to say, hey, you know what? I'm not that old to try this again, or maybe I should, or
Never
you
too
know,
old.
no, never too old, and it's there. So I'm writing better songs now because I have life experiences.
Yes.
Before the pandemic, I don't speak about this much right now because it's gonna take a lot of work. I wrote half a book, right? Before the
You
pandemic.
heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, yeah, and I called it "The Time Is Now," right?
I
Right.
love the title.
So the time is now. I'm
Yes,
alive
time
now,
is now.
and just to add, because since last year I've lost two of my best friends.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, our age, like my age. One cancer, one heart attack. Then my dad, and then in January, my wife lost her cousin at 40. He just woke up, and that was it.
Horrible.
Right?
My sympathies.
Thank you. So you never know, what's gonna happen next. So the time is now.
I
Right?
agree.
Every day is now, right? So I started writing this book, and it's about me and my thoughts, my philosophies of how I perceive life, and how can I say this? Like what the future would be, right? And why we're here, like if you believe in God or whatever religion you're from, or you practice, then you have the God aspect. But if you don't, we're just here, right? We're part of the animal kingdom, right? And we're human, and we're smart, and we think, and so we've how can I say, we've become who we are today, if we look back at prehistoric times, right? And there's all these modern things that we created to make us happy, right? But in that book, it describes all that. And if a pandemic were to ever happen, right? And I thought I was finished. And then COVID came to town. It was like, wow, I gotta have so much more to write about in 3-4 years from now, right? And why things happen, and why do we meet certain people, and why why didn't what I wanted to become not happen? Maybe this was my new path, right? Or where I belong, or where other people belong. You
Yeah.
still there?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still here.
Yeah. So it's kind of, why are we always at war? Where we put on this earth to fight? Who put us here? Like those are the questions that are in the book, right? And so in the book, in the transcript, it's not a book yet. So here we are. The time is now. I'm gonna do this now. Back to what am I gonna do next? And I work, and we have fun. We have 2 weeks vacation, 3 weeks vacation a year, and that's it. And we promote ourselves now.
Yeah,
COVID brought together the thinkers, the creators, the people that are creative. That's the positive thing of COVID.
That's very true. There's a lot of truth in that. I've experienced that as well. And I
Yeah.
do believe that everything happens for a reason. And I'm also a believer of no regrets. And
Yes.
it's never too, and everything that you've said, I'm aligned with. So I cannot wait
Yeah.
to read that book. So
I
continue
hope I get
writing.
to finish it.
Yeah, I
But-
hope so too. I'd love to read it.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll bring you back and you'll promote the book.
Yes, thank you. And it's I could, we could go on for another
Yes,
day.
yeah. And I know, and we'll definitely have you back. Unfortunately, because of some of the technical difficulties,
No,
it
well,
prolonged it a bit, but that's fine. It all worked out in the
that's
end.
expected with the technology right now.
Yes, yes.
But I love your show. I
Oh,
love the
thank
name.
you.
I've spoken to you a couple of times this
Yes,
week already.
yes.
Keep the great energy, and you have, you've had awesome guests, and keep at it. And
And
we're
you're
here.
one of them, and I appreciate it, and I wish you much, much success, and we'd love to have you back.
Yes, and good night, Fernando. Abrazo to both of you.
So stay for the after party. We have a little
Yes,
after
of
party.
course.
So definitely. So thank
We
you
have
again.
a virtual grappa.
Yeah. That sounds amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. It was a great show. I learned so much. Love him. And next week, we have Rebecca Perez. She is the editor-in-chief of Goss Magazine. So that's going to be very interesting. And I can't wait to sit and chat and shoot the breeze with her. So thank you once again for tuning in. And we will see you next week. Ciao for now.